Hey everyone, you might not know this, but I am the biggest Cities Skylines super fan.
I watched that 3 times. Top creators, Ludwig, Video Game Donkey, a bunch of city planning, city nerds, city skyline nerd shit.
And this Monday, as you know, is Paradox Interactive's Paradox Announcement Showcase. And if you are also a super fan of Cities Skylines, then you are probably in agreement with me that there is a 99.9% chance that Cities Skylines 2 will be announced. I have no idea when they could possibly release it, since we've had so many new DLCs drop recently. However, that's not going to stop me from making some predictions. I have got a handful of bullet points on my phone right here that I'm going to read out, and let's see how many you agree with, how many you think are absolutely absurd, and which ones will end up coming true when Cities Skylines 2 drops. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below which idea you think is the best of the ones that I have, and what ideas you have that I did not cover in this video today. The first is, for sure, better graphics. I think we're going to have higher resolution terrain texture, from trees to buildings to the sky. I think everything's going to be so much better. In addition, I think terrain manipulation is going to be a lot more smooth. So when you put a building down, instead of the jagged edges you get and the cliffs that just kind of like sometimes come out if you place into a hill, I think things are going to be a lot more fine-tuned. We're going to see much smoother gradation of hills and in general terrain. There's going to be much better traffic artificial intelligence in the game. I think cars are going to go into the proper lanes. Hopefully we have traffic accidents and collisions. It's something that has not been in City Skylines, but would definitely add to the goofiness of creating really terrible roads. I think if we had accidents, there would be more incentive to do better roads and better road management. I think we're gonna get the ability to have bigger maps. If you have been someone playing Cities Skylines on PC, then you have probably tried out the mods that allow you to unlock more tiles on the map. I think this is something that's gonna come from the base game with Cities Skylines 2. And I also think that we're going to have the ability to have multiple cities on the same map. I don't really know how this is going to work, but I think it's almost necessary for the game to be even more involved and exciting. I think we're going to get seasons. So obviously, depending on the biome that you choose, it's going to change what sort of seasons do occur or when they occur or what sort of weather happens. But I definitely would love to see fall, winter, spring, and summer. I think there's going to be a lot of integration of old mod functionality from the workshop. So a lot of the most popular mods, I believe, are going to be coming with the game to PC and to console. So that would be traffic manager, no controller, intersection marking tool, and maybe something similar to Move It. I don't know if it will literally be Move It, but I do think there's going to be more control over how we place buildings, the angle at which they're placed, etc. I also think that they are going to have a cinematic mode for taking videos or screenshots of the game. If they do this, I think it would be amazing if they could have it so that the gameplay is paused when you're in cinematic mode, but the animations will continue if you're taking something like a video. That way, you can capture the exact time of day and scenery that you want and action shots with the population moving or cars moving or whatever, but it's not going to affect your actual money or population. And for screenshots, of course, the animations will be paused. Oh, and of course, the ability to control time of day for cinematic mode. Forgot to mention that. I also think we're going to get much better, easier to use editor tools in game. In City Skylines, many of you may or may not realize that there are actually asset editors in the game. They are a bit clunky, to say the least, and take a lot of finagling to get right. I think that with City Skylines 2, they're going to make these tools a lot more accessible to everyone, including people that just don't even make 3D models or anything. So I think that's going to be great, as well as the ability to port any old CS1 workshop assets into CS2. Likely this will have to be done on the creator end, but I think they're not going to let the workshop go to waste. more custom buildings. I think we're gonna get something similar to the procedural objects mod in game, where we'll be able to go into any building we want and change the colors, so change the colors of the roof or the wall or the textures, or whether there is a parking lot next to the building and, you know, what's spawning in that little lot. I also think that we're gonna get better organization of the types of buildings in some sort of drop-down menu that kind of exists in game already. I think that way when people on the workshop, or if we get DLC drops with alter layouts of existing types of buildings like the police station or an elementary school, instead of having a lot of clutter in our menu toolbar, we'll be able to pick the type of building and then change the style in a drop-down. I think, and I hope, really hope, we get modular buildings like SimCity 4. One thing that people really like is the way that there are modular parts to different building systems. Like for a police station, you can put down multiple buildings and make a little, almost like a little campus, or just additional parts to a complex, like for a hospital or for a school. I think that would be great. I also think that we will be able to adjust the distance from the road. So when we place a building, I think we'll be able to push it back away from the road or make it closer to the sidewalk. Or, you know, if it is further off from the road, it'll draw its own driveways or pathways or whatever is needed to actually reconnect. But I think we'll be able to get that option. I also think that we're going to get more mid-density buildings. In fact, hopefully much more variety of gradations of density in general. With the most recent drop of the Korean style buildings, they were labeled as low density, but they kind of looked like mid-density buildings. I feel like that really highlighted the need for more density options in City Skylines. I also think we're gonna get better districts. What I mean by that is I think, well, for one, mixed use zoning, meaning we're gonna get commercial buildings that have commercial at the bottom and residential on the top of different density levels. I think we're gonna get a much more simplified and streamlined district styles tool. I don't really know what this will look like, but you know, right now we have kind of like different types of districts. We have the one where you can paint and it'll fill in with a certain type of building. That would be like the farming industrial district, or like the eco self-sufficient building, or organic produce. But I think also we're gonna get some sort of like addition to the other type of district painting, which would be like the parks or the airports. So I think hopefully we'll get something related to schools, not just universities, but also elementary and high schools. I think we'll get something related to harbor areas that might end up being more similar to just filling in that area with similar sorts of buildings that would show up. Government complexes. We got financial districts, so I think it would make sense to actually have some government-related district style or district area that we could create. I think we're gonna get better roads. So the ability to change road textures, like the way it exists for pedestrian roads, where we can click a certain segment or something, or change it before we lay it down, so we can have brick roads or cobblestone, or we can have the regular asphalt, or we can have a different color of asphalt, or we can have concrete. I feel like these are things that we should be able to adjust no matter what type of road we put down, or path or whatever. I would love to see exit lanes now built into the game, or the ability to add them on, whether that is for the highway or for just a regular road, like a 4-lane road, for example. I think we are gonna get better paths and the ability to paint path plazas. If you've played Planet Zoo, then you'll kind of know what I'm talking about in the way you can like make a little area of paths, but it's kind of like you can walk through it. I think we'll be able to make our own plazas with paths going forward. I think we are going to get stairs in addition to ramps, as well as the ability to add elevator access to elevated paths. As it currently stands, paths are super basic in City Skylines. I would love to see, and they're super crucial too. So I would love to see more functionality. I mean, elevators is just an accessibility thing. Stairs adds realism, so you know, combining those two options would be great. I also think it would be cool to have bike and pedestrian paths, like, you know, combined. That only exists on the workshop. There wasn't anything actually in game for that. And possibly my most outlandish prediction that I think could be possible is passive multiplayer. So what I mean by this is I don't mean something where we're on the same map building cities together. I don't think that's gonna happen. What I do think could happen is something where we can connect our cities to our friends' cities with like a trade network or a tourism network where our population can go visit their city, and when they return, they'll ping something up here that's like, oh, I looked at so-and-so's city and they actually have a museum. We don't have a museum here. And I feel like there could be something where if your citizens aren't so happy with your city and they visited a friend's city and it has better amenities, you might lose population. And those people will move into your friend's city and their population will grow. I think that would be a really interesting mechanic. I don't think it will be something that you have to turn on. I think it would probably be an opt-in sort of mode, but I think that would be super cool. Not quite the same, but there is like in Planet Zoo, there is an animal trading mechanic. Like you can breed animals in your zoo and then put them up for sale and other people can buy them. And so I kind of like see a similar sort of like we're playing a single player game, but we're still kind of interacting with each other and affecting the economy and affecting like the tourism and whatever. I think that would be extremely cool, extremely fun, and a super special feature that they could add to Cities Skylines too. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, leave a comment please, I would really appreciate it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. I am so excited for the Paradox announcement show on Monday, and cross your fingers, it's going to be Cities Skylines 2, I just know it. Alright, see you next time.